Hello everyone, my name is Oliver East and today I'm here to review A Walk in the Park. This is a game where you are taking a wander around the gardens and visiting landmarks. Small roll and write game. Let's see how the game plays and then I'll come back and give you my thoughts. So in A Walk in the Park, you are going to be walking around this park by using the dice that's provided. Each player is going to take one of these sheets. Now just note, they are actually double-sided. So if I show you this side is just slightly different layout. Just watch where these positions are. They are just in a slightly different place now. So that is the only difference, but just make sure everyone is playing on the same side and everyone's got a pencil and they're ready to play. Rolling the dice, you're going to get one of these sides, and that's what you're actually going to draw. So each round you're going to roll the dice, and then everyone's going to draw the shape. Now, if you can see, the player board, the player sheet is made up of lots of areas, and you're just going to, in this case, colour along. I'm going to try and shade it in quite a bit so you can make sure you can see it on the camera. And you're going to be trying to wander around. So I've done this, because you can rotate that into any direction. When you're actually writing the symbol on, it's important to know while you want them all to link up eventually, they don't have to straight away. So I could, for instance, put this one down here, hopefully linking this up later on, which would then get me that landmark. If we were to then roll this, I might choose to come in here and then colour that part in. I have then actually gone to this one, and if I did it first I'd get a little bonus 1, that's 1 point at the end of the game, and then by going here I get to choose a bonus. Some of these bonuses are just instant victory points for the end of the game. Some will add statues or allow you to score points per statues, points per ibis, per different groups of ibis, for a continuous group of ibis. Instead of doing a T-junction, you could draw an ibis and things like that, such as just getting a quick corner or a quick straight. When you form an area that's a circle, so say we've just got that T-junction and I've shaded this part in, I've now created a loop. You can draw a statue in, or you can just put an S somewhere to denote that that is indeed a statue. And they may score you points at the end of the game. Drawing the ibis is slightly different, as it does not allow you to connect to one of the special locations that you're trying to visit. It would instead go over the top, allowing you to draw a bird very badly, but that is then used as an ibis spot, and hopefully if I collect one of these scoring methods, it would gain me some points. Now, again, you could probably just get away with doing an eye, but it's much more fun to draw a really bad bird. If you get stuck at any point, you are allowed to turn a corner into a T-junction, so potentially I would do this, but I would then have to circle this as a -3 points. I could also turn a straight into a T-junction and lose another 3 points. So each round you're rolling the die and drawing it on and trying to get to some of the landscapes or to make loops for statues. You are allowed to visit the landmarks that other people have maybe beaten you to, but you wouldn't get the extra 1 point. However, if 2 people link to say the same landmark in a round, they'd both gain the point, but everyone else then in the game wouldn't be able to get it. In the round where someone has linked to their 6th landmark, and that does not include if you've drawn ibis over them, then you'll have unlocked 6 powers and the game ends after that round. Now note, even if you somehow manage to link to a 7th one, maybe by these special bonuses, you wouldn't get a 7th power, but you may still get the bonus for visiting the landmark first. So then it's time to score up. So let's look at this finished map from a game I've previously played and have a look at how we've scored from here as well as the bonuses. So I had managed to visit 5 of the landmarks first. That's 5 points down here. For the statues, whoever has the most drawn, then they score 1 point per statue. So in this case, 1, 2 points, which is put here. Then you look at your scoring from your bonuses. That's 2 points, 1 point per ibis for 1, that's 3, 1 point per statue for 5 points, and then 1 point per group of ibis, so another point for 6. So that is a total of 13, but I did use this power to turn a straight into a T-junction to lose 3 points, scoring me a net of 10 points. Whoever has the most points wins, and if there's a tie, whoever triggered the end of the game wins. If there's still a tie, then it's whoever's visited the most landmarks. And if there's still a tie, it's whoever has the most statues. And if there's still a tie, then players share the victory. And that's how to play a walk in the park. So first off, the components. It's a roll and write, so there's not too much to write home about. The pencils, the dice, yeah, they're fairly standard. The pad, that's, it's a very good size, and I do like that they've tried to sort of increase the variability a bit of the game by making it double-sided. Unfortunately, they've not really managed it there for me. Let's start there as part of the game which I think they've tried, but something hasn't quite worked for them. So first of all, the two maps play out almost identically. Yes, you are trying to use different shapes, but the shapes are coming off the roll of the dice, so you never really feel like, wow, I've done something different. If they'd maybe changed the powers that you can unlock by visiting landmarks, then, maybe turning the maps over and playing again would have a real difference. But otherwise, the two maps feel very much the same. In terms of the gameplay itself, it is very simple. You are rolling the dice, and I would say a sixth of the time, because there's one side with the ibis, a sixth of the time you're doing something different. The rest of the time you're just sort of drawing in paths, and it's relatively chilled gameplay. You're not, not having to brain burn too much. Very rarely is there sort of too much of a conundrum. You're trying to get to that landmark. I need a straight or a T-junction to get across there. A corner wouldn't really help me too much. Corner's come up. Okay, I'll put it over here. There's not too much time where you're really stuck scratching your head. At the same time, players do different things. Maybe I've gone left on my board on my first turn, you've gone right, and then as the different dice come out, I'm cheering when a dice comes up because it's allowing me to get to a landmark. You're complaining about it. That sort of good variation from coming from the dice. Now, that being said, it doesn't, again, a bit like flipping the map over, it doesn't feel like I'm doing something different from one game to the next. I'm still just relying on the dice. Now, the fact it's got the ibis on, that is a cool part of the game because it's directly related to the scoring if you're choosing to score it. Now, this is one thing you can do differently from one game to the next. You can really try go down that ibis route of, right, I'm going to get this power that means when there's a T-junction coming up, I can get an ibis. And then I'm going to unlock the 3 different ibis scorings. That's going to have used 4 of your potential 6 powers. Therefore, realistically, statues aren't going to be that important to you because you're hoping not to be drawing too many loops. You're hoping to draw the birds. And so there's a little difference there. There is, however, because you're getting to 6 of the landmarks, the option for you to do some of the ibis, some of the statues, and then just pick up like the 2 points. Or something that allows you to get to a 6th landmark and end the game early by just drawing straight. And again, it starts to come back to, while you could have a real different one game to the next, you end up going down the middle and scoring big on both statues and ibis. It seemed like the game is designed for you to go hard on one of them and score big and forget about the others. But in actual fact, you can score quite big on both in a single game, or at least score enough points, because it's quite a low scoring game. You know, you can win easily with a single figure score in your first game. In the second game, that's not quite the case. You need to get to that double figures probably to win. But again, if you're only choosing maybe 4 of those benefits, then you would be specialising a little bit more, because you really could do just ibis or just statues and a few extra bits. It just feels like you're doing a bit of everything every game. And again, it comes back to the game doesn't feel too different from one to the next. There is obviously the option to take penalties, but 3 points to try and change a corner into a T-junction, it is worth it. I have used that to great effect to end a game early and get to some points. But 3 points when you could be scoring maybe 9, losing 30% of your points to do that feels really quite punishing. I'd almost quite happily have one of the powers on one side of the map be turn something into a T-junction. You're giving up the opportunity to score, but you're opening up your map a bit more, and things like that just mean it's a bit frustrating sometimes to play a walk in the park when the dice isn't going your way. And that's not what I want from a roll and write. So it's an acceptable roll and write. It was okay for a couple of games, but then it just felt like we were playing the same game over and over again, even with the opportunity to flip the map over and try something revolutionary different that was actually just more of the same. And that's where I sit on this. It was fun for a couple of games, but I wouldn't recommend it for a long period of time to actually go and play it. You know, if you can find it somewhere to play in a games cafe, fine, but you don't need to own this in your collection because it's just okay. And that's why I'll give it a 5 out of 10. And that is just because this is a roll and write in a sea of roll and writes that does little to inspire me to replay it over and over again. Anyway, that is a walk in the park. Let us know if you think differently in the comments section below. And until next time, check out other news, reviews and such on the Dice Tower.